Hello, Clear Vision Coaching fans. Russ Scheider again. So, this topic has come up a lot recently with coaching students, with my acquisition staff, and in a marketing company in which I'm a partner. And that's about monetizing everything, monetizing every lead, and helping as many people as possible. So, I want to give you kind of tell you a story about four transactions with really the same property and how I was able to get paid for commissions and help two people or two families, two couples solve a lot of problems. So here we go. So this house is in. I live in Charleston, South Carolina. Do most of my business here. This is a wonderful part of Charleston called Park Circle, and Park Circle is not downtown Charleston, but it's kind of the almost the next best thing. Bedroom community, really nice area. So what happened is one of my acquisitions guys was doing his job, contacted the seller, and when we first saw the house, it looked like this. So, and you can see my buddy, who I became really good friends with, the owner of the house, standing on the front porch watching a delivery come in as Google Maps went by. So the house, Jamie, I'll just use his first name, Jamie, grew up in this house with his grandparents, and then inherited it when they passed and lived here with his wife. So he owned this house, and you can't see, but there are two lots that go down the hill. This dog pen mess is not typical of Park Circle. So Jamie was an old timer, had been here for a lot of years. So James, my acquisition specialist, met with Jamie, and they had a great conversation. James made him an offer, and Jamie just said, I can't accept that cash offer, but I have to do something. And James, being a good trained acquisitions person, said, so what you're saying is if you don't get X dollars for the house, you're just not going to sell it? And Jamie said, yeah, that's what I'm saying. And he said, have you considered listing it with the realtor? And Jamie said, I don't want to do that. Realtors are all a-holes and liars, and I don't want anything to do with that. So James called me and he said, man, we got to help this guy out. He really needs our help. He can't accept the cash offer. Will you meet with him? So I went out and met with him. Turned out we're exactly the same age, and just kind of connected. Spent a couple of hours just listening to his stories and talking to him. Long story short, I was able to list this house for him and sell it to a flipper who also happens to be an architect, who could pay more than we could pay because Grady, the flipper, was using his own money. And so he had no costs of money to deal with. Also, being an architect, he was able to get the architect. They just, to improve the interior of the house, he wanted to take some walls out, and there was some rafter reinforcement that needed to be done. And Grady's son-in-law is an engineer, so he saved a lot of money on architectural and engineering costs. He sent his crew from out of town to do some of the work, and was just able to flip it at a price where I could not flip it. But here's what happened. So that was before, and this is after. So this is after Grady and Evie, his wife, finished flipping it. It was just absolutely beautiful. I don't have before interior pictures, but trust me, they didn't look like this. So yeah, just pretty typical of what we do is a flip. But he did a beam ceiling, for structural reasons and decorative reasons. Opened the kitchen up and gave us a much more modern kitchen, et cetera, et cetera. So that stuff's kind of fun to look at, but that's not what we're really here to talk about. So um, the way this worked is, in this condition, I listed the house. Uh, an agent reached out to me, and she happened to be um, the buyer's sister-in-law or something like that, some sort of relative. So she represented the buyer on the buyer's side of the transaction when it was in as is condition. And then throughout the renovation process, because the owner lived about 2 hours away, I said, look, I'll swing by there once a week, twice a week, whatever you need me to do, and just check on your crew and give you photo updates, and just to be a nice guy, I'll help you through the rehab flip because I'm driving around up there anyway. And if you're happy with that, maybe you would consider letting me list it. Well, I knew that was a long shot because they had a sister-in-law, cousin, I'm not sure what the relationship was, but the person who helped them buy the house was a licensed agent and certainly could have listed it. But she doesn't know Park Circle. She only operates in Mount Pleasant, which is another part of Charleston that's very, very, very different. So I built trust through that process and was able to get the listing. So let me show you what the numbers look like. So that the kind of the feel good part of it is Grady and Evie had not flipped a house before. I've known him for many years and he does gorgeous architectural work. But the flipping process was really unfamiliar, so I held their hand through that. And that gave them a lot of value. Jamie, it was kind of a nightmare to sell the two lots because of surveys and encroachments and easements, and I helped him through all of that. This was in the middle of COVID. Jamie and his wife were moving to Pennsylvania. I had to hand walk um, they went to the Register of Deeds office to register the survey, and they were closed because of a COVID outbreak. And they were in a U-Haul truck headed to Pennsylvania. So I grabbed the plans, waited till the office reopened, and submitted for them. So a lot of service to the client, not a lot of my time was used here, but I was able to give a lot of service. So here are the numbers. This is how my company or I benefited. So the Alpha Street house, when we sold it, Grady bought it for 222, and I got a 3% commission, less the 10% that my broker takes, as he should. And then we sold the two lots, and you see the commissions for those. And then when the new owner, Grady and Evie, when they flipped it, we sold it for 410 at 2.5% commission less my broker fee. So almost $20,000 in benefit to me or to my company that I own. So to me, um, and a good feeling about helping these people. And Grady has said, if you find something else like this that we can flip, man, call me. We'll do it again. So the point of this is, if you're licensed, this is a way you can monetize every lead, because this was never going to work for my company as a cash purchase because we simply couldn't pay what this other buyer could pay. Because we're borrowing the money, he was using his own money to do one flip. I could do one flip with my money, but I do 10, 12, 15 a year. So I need to borrow money for those. And if you're not licensed, then the lesson here is find a friendly real estate agent, because I would have happily paid somebody, $2,000 or $3,000 referral fee, or call it a marketing fee, for finding the deal. And all you would have to do is make a couple of phone calls and make $2,000 or $3,000 as a referral fee or a marketing fee. In South Carolina, it's illegal to call it a referral fee. They're not agent to agent, so it's a marketing fee. So I hope that helps. See how to monetize all sides of a transaction. Stay tuned for another video about wholesaling and getting paid more than once on wholesaling.